So at what point did Suge Knight start coming around?
I don't remember the dates, but there came a point in time, in this late '80s, maybe early '90s, probably late '80s. Suge came in one day and he said, "Mr. Griffey, I've been trying to get together to meet with you, and I have a client who has written all these songs on a guy named Vanilla Ice, and he's not being paid. Can you help us get paid?" So he brought in Mario Johnson, PKA Chocolate.
Right.
So Suge and Chocolate come in, and they tell us a story about how he was from Texas. They had a club there where they had an open mic, and he would go and he met Bobby Winkle's guy, is Vanilla Ice, and they exchanged a lot of things. And then Suge had brought Chocolate out to California. He was managing Chocolate. He brought him out and said, you need to be in California if you're going to get a record deal and progress in your career. So he said he was at, I guess Suge had him in his apartment, and he was watching MTV, and he saw Bobby Winkle's doing Ice Ice Baby. He said, "That's my song." And so I said, "Yeah, right. So, what kind of evidence or proof you have?" He says, "Well, the lyrics that I wrote for all these songs, I left with my girlfriend in Texas. I'll have her send them." So he sent out the lyric sheets. I saw those, but lyric sheets are something that you could make up, right? I mean,
right.
You go home tonight and write them. But there was a record that I think Vanilla Ice's manager was Tommy Chung. They had released an independent record in Texas with Vanilla Ice, and on the record they'd given Chocolate credit for the songs. Okay, Capitol Records had picked it up, and when they picked up Vanilla Ice and put out his records, they hadn't given him credit for the songs. So I said, okay, this looks like pretty good evidence that you did write these songs. And so at that point in history, we had a joint venture deal with Sony, and it covered music and publishing. And so I called up the head of Sony's publishing company and said, "I found somebody that I think has written hit songs." And Vanilla Ice has sold millions of records, and those are songs that we can get a piece of. They said, "Great, make a deal." So I gave Chocolate a $400,000 advance to do a co-publishing deal with him. And Suge was the manager, and he was getting, I think, 25%. That was the most money he had made in his life.
Right. He just made $100,000.
Just made $100,000.
So you guys signed Chocolate to
Yes.
a publishing deal.
Correct.
You give him $400,000.
Right.
But there's still the whole thing up in the air of he hasn't been paid for Ice Ice Baby. So then there was the incident at the hotel room with Suge Knight and Vanilla Ice. And I guess Chocolate was there also, right?
Well, I wasn't there,
You weren't there.
but it sounds like fiction to me.
Okay.
And the reason I say is because we ultimately had to hire a lawyer to sue him.
Okay. And the story is fuzzy, but the one thing that is established is that Suge went to go visit Vanilla Ice at his hotel room.
Right.
And at one point, Vanilla Ice said that Suge held him outside the balcony,
Right.
Threatened to drop him. Another story later on, Vanilla Ice said that they just had a conversation at the balcony, and there was some inference as to what could possibly happen if Suge didn't get paid or whatever else. But did any sort of contract get signed in that hotel room?
No.
No.
No, I think it's urban legend is
Yeah.
what I think. And I wasn't there, and there are a lot of urban legends around Suge, which he helped to foment.
Right.
Because it helped build his reputation. All I know is that we made the deal with Chocolate based on the record that had been released already by Vanilla Ice. It gave us confidence that Chocolate really had written those songs, one.
Yeah.
And then, as far as I know, Vanilla Ice never went to EMI as publisher and said, "Hey, I'm signing, or my publisher or agree to it," because initially EMI refused to grant our request that we split the publishing. We actually hired a lawyer to sue EMI.
Okay.
And that's how we ended up getting the money from EMI for the publishing.
Okay. So you guys ultimately won that lawsuit.
Oh, yeah. Well, we didn't win the lawsuit. I mean, we got ready to file a lawsuit, and then they saw the evidence, and they said, okay, you're right.
Okay. Do you remember how much money you guys were paid at that point?
I don't, because the way our publishing deal worked, we were just in partners with Sony. And so the money, we kind of had an overall deal that covered records and publishing and everything else. And I have no recollection of what kind of, but it had to be significant.
Well, it was in the millions because
yeah.
the album, Vanilla
It sold
Ice's
like 8
album,
million copies.
8 million copies. The
Yeah,
single, I think,
domestic.
sold millions
Yeah.
on top of that. So
Yeah, so a co-publishing agreement, now, I don't know what the publishing rates were back in those days. It wasn't like it is now where you get 9 cents a song. It may have been 4 or 5 cents, maybe 6. And then you're doing co-publishing, so you're splitting it. So, let's say you're getting 3, 4 cents a song, if it's 4 pennies a song, and there were multiple songs that Chocolate wrote on the album. So let's say it worked out to be, I don't know, let's pick a number, 20 cents. So that would be 200,000 per million. So should have been, significant amount of money.